Hi guys, this video is going to be a little different than my past videos. In my previous videos I presented evidence. I say that they were evidence because you can verify everything I said for yourself. This video is going to be a testimony. You will not be able to verify everything I say for yourself, therefore it does not rise to the level of evidence. However, for me, it absolutely is evidence. It is a change of scripture that I have personal proof actually occurred. But before we get to that, let's play a little game called Name That Prophet. So, who is this guy right here? And don't say Charlton Heston. Okay, this is Moses. Alright, next up, who is this guy? Well, it's an old guy with a bunch of animals. It looks like they're getting on an ark. So, your answer to this question would depend. If you are reading from the Old Testament, your answer would be Noah. However, if you are reading from a King James version of the New Testament, your answer would be Noe. So what do I mean by this? Well, let's go back a little bit in my personal experience with this. Early on in my experience with the Mandela effect, I was aware of a change in Matthew 24:36 through 39. This is a section of scripture I am very familiar with. In late 2012, I was working on an outline for a lesson that I was going to do. And what I did is I took from BibleGateway.com, I cut and I pasted it directly into this outline. And you can see right here Matthew 24:36 through 39. It says King James Version. And let's just go ahead and jump down to verse 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall be the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay, like I say, I'm very familiar with this verse. I taught a lesson on it. I looked at it in my own Bibles. This is how it read back in 2012 when I made this outline. Okay, now let's take a look at Bible Gateway and see how it reads today. Let's see, bring the verse into focus. Okay, here we are, Bible Gateway, Matthew 24:36 through 39. And I'm again going to go ahead and go to verse 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Verse 38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noe entered into the ark. This is what it now says on Bible Gateway. It says Noe. Now, what I want to show you is a picture from my 1946 King James Version of the Bible. Again, we're looking at Matthew 24:36 through 39, and again I'm going to read verse 37 and 38. But as the days of Noe were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving into marriage, until the day that Noe entered the ark. Okay, you can see that this picture of my 1946 Bible has Noe in 37 and 38. So you may be asking, well, why did I take this picture in the first place? Well, the reason I did is because when I found out about this Mandela effect, and Bible Gateway had changed to Noah in 37, well, stayed Noah in 37, and changed to Noe in 38, I went and looked at my King James Bibles. And they all said exactly like Bible Gateway does today. They had Noah in verse 37 and Noe in verse 38. So, I was thinking that there's a good chance that this scripture may change to Noe and Noe. So I took a picture of my 1946 King James Version of the Bible, and when I took that picture, verse 37 had Noah in it. So just recently I was thinking of things, other possible videos I could make, and I was thinking about the name changes in the New Testament. So I went back and looked at the scripture, and I saw that it had changed to Noe in verse 37 and Noe in verse 38 in my King James Bibles, all of them. So now I'm really excited, right? I said, I've got my photographic evidence. I can prove that there's a change. So I went and I looked at my picture, and now this is what my picture shows. It shows Noe in verse 37 and Noe in verse 38. Now I realize for you guys, like I say, this isn't proof, because somebody could say that I'm some type of expert with being able to manipulate photographs. But it's not just my memory. A few months ago, I was telling a friend about the Mandela effect and showing him the evidence that I'd collected up to that time. I also showed him the scripture and the picture I had taken from my Bible. Okay, now when I found out about this last week or a week and a half ago, I went to my friend and I asked him, I said, do you remember me pointing out this scripture to you and how it said Noah in verse 37 and Noe in verse 38 in the Bibles? And he said, yes. I said, do you remember me showing the picture that I took from my Bible, and it also having Noah in verse 37 and Noe in verse 38? And he said yes. He confirmed that that's the way it was. And of course I told him, well, it's changed. It's now Noe in 37 and 38, and it also changed in my picture. And of course he, like both of us were just mind blown. Just, we shouldn't be mind blown by anything anymore, but the fact that the picture had changed as well was just really quite a shock. So while I do not have the evidence I hoped for by taking this picture, I do have absolute personal proof that changes are occurring. First, I have my original cut and paste of how this scripture originally was online in Bible Gateway, with Noah in verse 37 and Noah in verse 38. So I know for a fact that it changed. Then I also have this picture that I took, which had Noah in 37 and Noe in verse 38 when I took the picture, and now it has changed as well. So for me personally, this is absolute personal proof, as if I didn't know already that things are changing. Now granted, you have no way to confirm what I've told you. All you have is my testimony, which for you guys who do not see any Mandela effects, it just seems like a ludicrous claim on my part. However, Bible Gateway, as of now, still shows Noah in verse 37 and Noe in verse 38. I've checked several other online King James versions, and they all show Noe in verses 37 and 38. So I suspect now, as I did months ago, that Bible Gateway will also change to Noe in both verses. May I suggest you write down for yourself what Bible Gateway currently shows for these verses. Bookmark my video, because there's a reasonable chance that when it changes, you will also see it change in my video. In fact, download this video and hang on to your copy. This way, if the change does occur, you will be able to see it in your own downloaded copy, and you will know it's not something that I came back later and edited. Friends, I took a picture because it showed Noah in verse 37 and Noe in verse 38. I suspect that the Bible will change to Noe in both verses. I was right, and it did. Unfortunately, so did my picture. I know it is not evidence for you, but for me it is proof positive that the Bible is being supernaturally changed. I will get back to presenting evidence in my next video, but I wanted to get this one out before Bible Gateway changes to match up with the new way that it always was. And if you download this video, you may just get a chance to see a new supernatural change of your very own. I would suggest you show your own downloaded version of this video to someone you're trying to wake up. Yes, they will think you're crazy, just like my friend thought I was crazy, who, by the way, no longer thinks I'm all that crazy. With a little patience and luck, you may get to have the same kind of vindication. Until next time.